You're listening to In Sumter with Sarah Jane, a show about celebrating Sumter, a part of the Item Podcast Network, presented by SKF.
No, B team for life. You aren't the A team, so.
I feel like being A team, you were one of the very first people. You were one of the very first people that I talked to about it.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, because you've done all kinds of stuff.
Put on to them.
Absolutely. I'm Sarah Jane, and you're here in Sumter with me and Bentham Reed, and we're just going to talk about everything. Yeah. I'm going to let you pick.
Me pick?
I'm just kidding. Okay, so we met through Young Professionals.
Yeah.
And we were auctioning something, weren't we?
Me, I think.
Hey. No, I think that's pretty close. It was like lunches or whatever.
Yeah, it was like a lunch with, I guess they had different business. One summer that auction.
For Young Professionals, and just, I think the conversation was supposed to be like, you bid on these lunches and then you can like pick their brain.
Yeah.
So you can network.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you were as young as you were.
Well, I'm not that young.
Well, you're pretty young.
Yeah.
So our first conversation, I was like, absolutely, let's do this. It came off very aggressive, and then I met you, and I was like, ooh. I came off very forward. I felt like I came off forward, and I didn't mean to come off so forward.
I don't remember that.
Okay. Whew. Good.
Thought it was good.
Perfect. So, but we talked about a lot of stuff that day. So, number one, you do equipment rental stuff.
Yes.
What got you into equipment rental stuff?
Well, I had some equipment because I have land and stuff like that, so I've always liked equipment. And then I had kind of a background in construction because I owned a granite company doing granite countertops back.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I sold that back in 2008. So
yeah.
I had the
market
building.
Trends will affect that.
Well, I mean, it was before the crash. It was January
cool.
2008. So, so I had that building and everything left over from that, so that I was leasing out at the time to other people. But so I'd kind of planned this a little bit, and then because I had the real estate for it, and I had some equipment already, and I knew about equipment, and then it was kind of the same sales approach that I used for the granite business, just going and talking to contractors and going to construction sites and stuff like that. So that's what kind of got me into it. Now I retired. So when I retired from the military about 3.5 years ago, I moved back to Sumter and started the business.
You grew up in Sumter, right?
Yeah, I grew up in Sumter.
Okay, cool. And your family, I think, is from Sumter.
Yeah,
you're like hardcore downtown crew,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, my whole family. Well, my mom lives right down from me, and my dad did die last year, but he lived right down the street from me, so we're all right there. My brother lives in Charleston, though. So.
Well, does he let you come stay?
Not really.
Yeah, I'll just skip right over that. I'm just teasing.
I don't really ever go down there.
You don't go to Charleston?
No.
Why not?
Well, I do go down there sometimes to deliver equipment because we do a little bit of business down there, but I don't really go down there to stay.
It's Black Oak Equipment Rental.
Yeah, Black Oak.
And it's on Old Florence Highway?
Well, it's 861 East Liberty. It's really Liberty Street. I guess Liberty Street's named that all the way till the bypass, and then but people call it Highway 76.
Barely. You barely got
got in there.
Barely got in there for that. You seem more local when it's Liberty Street.
Yeah, and a lot of people
start driving.
A lot of people don't realize you kind of say Highway 76 past the old Coca-Cola place, and then people kind of know where you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but when you say Liberty Street, it does confuse people.
Do you ever go to that Sylvia Joe's place for lunch?
Occasionally. Most of the time I go home for lunch and stuff. But.
I had a burger there once, and by the time I got to the last quarter, the bottom was disintegrated from the grease. There was no bun left. It had disintegrated into just straight,
really
greasy goodness.
Yeah,
highly recommend.
Highly recommend it.
Do it on a Friday though.
Yeah.
You're not gonna want to keep working.
Yeah,
Friday.
That place stays busy.
You work through the weekend. I was you don't get
we're
to.
Open on Saturdays, so we were open from 8 to 4:30 on Saturdays, but I cut that back to 8 to 12, which is a lot better. But I end up working later than that because people always want stuff delivered. Fridays and Saturdays are actually kind of busy for me because I do a lot of deliveries Friday.
Just that good heart, just working all day long.
Yeah, kind of have to, but yeah, I do work a lot.
I see you pulling stuff. The other day you were hauling a flatbed. It was full of what looked like heavy metal.
Heavy metal?
It looked like big flat pieces of...
You sure it was me? Because a lot of people rent our trailers.
Well, the truck said Black Oak Equipment
right.
Rental. How many trucks you got?
3.
Oh, I didn't expect that to be that big of an answer.
Yeah.
What's your biggest piece of equipment?
Probably like a big lift. We have several things that are around 13,000 pounds. So like a big lift that you can drive around.
That's why you have to deliver it?
Yeah, a lot of people can't pull that. And I'm maxed out at about 13,000 pounds because I don't have a like an 18-wheeler. It's a whole nother level to get into that because the insurance is so high. You have to have the truck.
So you're not...
Well, I mean, I plan to, but it will be, probably a few years down the road. But because there's still plenty to buy in the kind of compact equipment that we deal in.
What's your most popular rental?
Mini excavators. So.
What does that do?
Well, they're.
Does it do like this?
Like if you ever Traco, yeah.
Or does it do like this?
No, it has a digging thing. On
Okay.
It has a blade and then tracks,
okay.
and they range from. We have a real small one all the way up to 12,600 pounds.
Can you is that the one that you can put different stuff on the front of it?
That's a skid steer. Those are real popular too.
And it's got like something called a box blade, so you can put the driveway.
A box blade goes with the tractor, but we have a tractor. We have a tractor too.
Okay.
So the tractor has a lot of attachments that go on the back of it, but then a skid steer has a lot of attachments that go on the front. So skid steers are very popular. So.
So I know you got into this because it came off the Granite thing, and then you had the equipment. But do you just kind of like it though?
No, I like it. I mean,
okay.
I like equipment. I would like to get to where I wasn't working so much, but
fair
because I don't ever have time to use the equipment for myself.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to be able to take it out to my land and stuff and use it, but I never have time to do that.
So what are you going to use it for?
Well, eventually I plan to do that. You talking about
just going to move some dirt around?
Oh, use it. Yeah. Like I have ponds out there and stuff like that. So I do.
It's very blonde of me, but I'm like, what are you going to do with it? You're just going to like play with it like a 4-wheeler? You're just going to move some stuff around?
There's always stuff to do. I mean, just.
I also know nothing about maintaining land.
Yeah.
So that's also a key part to that.
Well, I haven't been doing that very good lately.
It means you get to use it more later.
Yeah, exactly. I get to use this equipment a lot later because everything's grown up.
It's all it's like fresh. It's like a new game.
Yeah, exactly.
So you were in the military.
Yeah.
You were in the Army?
Yeah, Army.
Okay. And then?
And the Army, I was National Guard a lot of the time. I was in it for 23 years, but I joined when I was 18. But I had about 10 years of that was active, and about the rest was kind of inactive, like National Guard time. So I've been gone from Sumter for about 7 years because I was in Afghanistan for a year and a half, and then Huntsville, Alabama for 4.5 years. So about 6 years, I guess. So
what are you doing in Huntsville?
Well, I worked for the Apache program office, the Apache helicopter. So I was an Apache pilot way back over Eastover. That was a long time ago. So when I was in Afghanistan, a colonel called me up because I guess he saw my resume. I had a business experience, and then I was a pilot. So he called me to come work at the program office. So the program office, like Huntsville, Alabama, a lot of people don't realize it, but it has more PhDs per capita than anywhere else in the U.S. because NASA's there. All Army Aviation's there.
Have to write that down for potential places to move.
So it's a very high-tech place. I mean, it's an engineering town. And so that's where the Army program offices are. So they work with Lockheed, Boeing, and Northrop Grumman. Those were 3 prime contractors on the Apache. Because that's a constant technology, thing where they're constantly updating the aircraft. So we contract with those main contractors and some smaller subcontractors to keep that going, put new things on it. We work with the people in the field, the pilots and stuff, and to know what we need to put on it, how it needs to be updated. So that was what our job was in Huntsville. In the Apache office, it was like 500 people working there, but there were only 8 Army people. But the
So do you
Army
have a
people were in charge.
PhD?
No, I don't have a PhD.
Okay.
I didn't work with. I mean,
But you
they
were just-
a lot of those people did because it was mostly civilians,
Okay.
like almost 500 civilians and like 8 Army guys. But the Army colonel was in charge of the whole office. So
And you were called in because you had experience with helicopters, and obviously
they like-
super organized guy and a guy.
well, I don't know about super organized, but but yeah, just because I had, was a pilot and then I had business experience and stuff like that. But so
Cool. What when you joined when you were 18, you had already started a couple businesses, hadn't you?
well, I started a yard business when I was 8, and then I
you
sold
were
that
8?
when I was 18.
Just
so,
a true so
Yeah.
you started it when you were 8 and sold
Yeah.
it when you were 18?
Yeah, I had like
I
3
feel like that was a
employees when I was
pretty
12,
good.
so,
Oh
I mean,
no,
so-
there's no, you didn't.
Yeah. So I mean, it was a pretty big yard service.
Did
so
you really have 3 employees when you were 12?
Yeah.
How old were the employees?
They were just a little bit younger than me. They're like neighborhood kids. So, but then in high
You
school, I
started
had
a
some
conglomerate.
high school people kind of working for me.
This
so-
is awesome.
But no, it was good business. But-
Was T-Mac one of your fellow employees?
oh no, Thomas.
Uh-huh.
No.
When did you meet Thomas?
Oh what?
When did you meet Thomas McElveen?
Well, I've known Thomas all my life, I guess, because he grew up not too far. Well, he grew up not right down the street from where he is now.
Yeah.
Of course, he's my neighbor now, but he's younger than me. So
I figured he'd make a great employee. I didn't
Yeah,
know if that's
so,
how you knew him.
no, he wasn't an employee. But
Because when he was here, he also talked about when he was in, I think, college, he was on like a committee that was like keep everybody in line. Do you remember what it was? He's like some sort of jury for the students.
Yeah, he was
really?
part of an ethics committee, I guess.
Yes.
At Davidson.
And I feel like it would take the same kind of like personality that everybody kind of gets along with
Yeah.
to have employees when you're 12.
I guess.
So you sold it when you were 18.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you got into.
Well, I joined the Army,
Uh-huh.
and then I had to go to basic training and all that stuff.
Somewhere in there, you got your real estate license.
Yeah, I probably got I started doing real estate in high school. So, but
Okay.
but I didn't get my real estate license probably till after college sometime. But I was doing real estate. Because I went in the Army, did my training, and then went to the Citadel the next year. And then
I
I was
forget all the time.
buying stuff when I was like houses and land and stuff when I was at Citadel or before then. So
When you were in high school.
yeah.
What made you decide to buy stuff when you were in high school?
I don't know. I've always liked real estate.
Uh-huh.
So, the first big thing I bought was like some land out in 95, like 65 acres out there when I was 19 or something like that. But
Over toward, like you're going to Florence? Is that where I had that little patch?
Where you called about one place that you had. But, going out on 378.
I'm
towards
still very
95.
mad that you didn't buy that.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't adjacent to me. It was across
It
the
was
interstate.
close enough,
so-
Bentham. No, that's fine. So,
No, I'm
so
glad
that,
called
but
me
you
about it.
got that when you were, I'll call you if I have anything that I think relates at all to what you do. So you bought that when you were in high school?
Well, I think I was 19 or 20 when I bought that. That wasn't the first thing I bought. That was probably the first big thing I bought.
That is so cool. So what'd your dad do?
He was a forester.
Okay, so I was like, you had to have some sort of relation to land, because normally people who aren't around that kind of thing don't
Well,
just
I don't know,
like.
a lot of guys like land, it seems like. So
Yeah, I feel like you have to kind of, especially at 16, you got to know that it's possible to buy that stuff, right?
yeah.
And
yeah.
like, does
Like
that make
grass.
sense? Like, that does not count. So sorry. We had a cord situation I was monitoring.
Oh, she was getting into a cord.
Yeah, she's fine. So you go to the Guard, and you're flying helicopters.
Yeah, well, now that was after I got out of Citadel and got commissioned, because you can't fly helicopters as an enlisted guy. So at first I was an enlisted guy throughout the Citadel, and then I got commissioned out of the Citadel, and then I actually had to wait to go to flight school. So I worked for Ernst & Young out of college, and then did the CPA thing and all that, and then I had a slot to go to flight school. So then I went to flight school like a year after college.
So we're like 21 at this point, maybe 22. We have land. We've got a real estate license. We've built and sold a lawn company, and then you're a CPA. Or you have the ability to be a CPA.
Yeah, no, I was a CPA. I'm not anymore because I don't take the continuing ed.
I don't understand why you were like, I don't know what we're going to talk about. Haven't any of your 20 careers that you've had.
Yeah.
Which one's your favorite so far?
Well, I like having a business. I did not like the accounting at all. So I don't like to sit behind a desk. And
so you still don't want to help me do my taxes?
No, absolutely not. In fact, I just finished my taxes last weekend.
Well, if they give an extension, use the extension.
Yeah, I did use the extension. I hate doing my taxes, but and it takes me a while, but so I didn't really. But it helps owning a business because I do all my own accounting and stuff. So
I would think that you could keep up with it a little bit all year long, but you're so busy.
Yeah, I am busy, and like today, I was catching up, and I haven't done really any of my books for like 6 months. I mean, I finished out December, and I've been working on my taxes.
This was the perfect thing to also procrastinate on that.
So I've been working on that today. So
I'm so glad that I could interrupt and help you escape that.
Because it's raining, so I guess I had a little bit of time.
Yeah, so I don't like when it rains.
It's just hard to, and then that's the one thing I don't like to do. So
taxes.
And
the thing you went to school for?
And any of the office stuff, yeah.
Oh. So why'd you decide to go?
To do the CPA thing?
Yeah.
Well, one of my dad's friends, Phil Palmer, he was a CPA, and then
he's still alive, right?
Yeah, he's still alive.
Yeah, I think he's still doing taxes.
Well, no, he's retired.
Oh, okay.
Ronnie Hendricks, I think, took over his firm, but when I was about to go to college, he's like, "Well, yeah, that's a good thing to know if you want," because I like business, and he's like, "A good thing to major in is accounting." And then once you're in accounting, they just push, "Hey, you need to get a job with a big, 8 or 7 or 6 or 5, whatever it is now, like the Ernst & Youngs and KPMG. I don't know what all firms are out there now. Some of them, Arthur Anderson.
Accounting firms or?
Well, the big firms, the big national firms. So they kind of push that when you're in that degree, and then they push to get in CPA. So I just went ahead and did all that, but I didn't really enjoy it too much.
Yeah. Did you go back to school for something else?
No, never been back to school. I've been saying I was going to go back to school, but...
What would you do if you went back?
Well, when I was actually in Afghanistan, I applied to Clemson's entrepreneurship thing because the Army will pay for it. Because I have the GI Bill from being deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. So they'll pay all the tuition and give me a living allowance. So it's a pretty good deal. But so I got into Clemson's entrepreneurship MBA, but then that colonel called me to come to Huntsville, so I decided to go to Huntsville. So it's just hard to really go back to school once you're out of school. So and I was only at Citadel 3 years. I graduated in 3 because I wanted to catch up to my class because I went in the Army, so I kind of missed a year there. So
you'd just be going back because you want to?
Yeah, I mean, for connections and stuff like that. But yeah, so I've always kind of thought about going back, but I just never have. It's been, I guess 26 years since I've been in high school. So.
Hey, you should 100% try to do it now.
Yeah, well, I don't have any time now, but.
Well, you work this out.
Yeah.
If anybody could figure it out, you can figure it out. They're doing a whole bunch of online stuff.
I don't like online stuff though.
Oh, you want to be there?
Yeah, if I
don't go back right now.
Yeah, because the main thing I like is connections and stuff like that. So, and I don't really feel like I learned that well online. So
sometimes that happens.
Yeah, I kind of feel sorry for some of these students now because we have a lot of high school people working for us now over the summer. And, they're it's kind of up in the air whether they're going to be actually attending or doing online stuff. A lot of places still haven't made a decision on that, but
yeah, I guess if if you prefer to be in the class or you do better when you're in the
most
class.
people do prefer, especially the college people going to college for the first time. I think they want that college experience of actually physically being there.
I think you're probably right about that. I didn't really care much about the college experience.
Yeah.
I just wanted to stop going to school. Just
stop
the learning. I want to stop reading.
Yeah.
I want to feel like I know what I'm doing. I want to go do it. No one ever tells you that you never feel like you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Pretty much, it's always a wing and a prayer till the end of time. So, okay.
The more you know you don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a sweet spot when you get your real estate license. I want to say it's like 2 to 5 deals in. You feel that after that 5th one, you're like, I know it all.
Yeah.
I've seen 5 situations, and clearly, I know all the situations.
Yeah.
And you just feel invincible, or at least I did.
Until a couple years later, where you figure out you don't know it all.
And this the very next deal, you're like, oh, cool. Anything could happen. Just gonna have to watch everything.
Yeah.
So, and then you just develop some sort of caution. I'm not a very cautious. I feel like I'm not super cautious.
It's probably good you're not, though. I mean,
I'm like, you have an idea, you go do it.
yeah.
What's wrong?
That's the way to be.
Go forth.
Yeah. That's how you have your own talk show. Successful in real estate. You just go do it.
You just got to go do it. So, I'm glad that you're on the talk show.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Good to be here.
I'm going to teach you about it later. I'm not going to do that right now. So what's next? What are you going to do next?
We'll probably be stuck doing this business for a while.
Listen, we have talked about this, I know, for 1.5 years with you and the equipment rental, and you say that you want more time off.
Yeah.
But I have this feeling that even if you had time off, you would fill it up again.
Yeah, probably. But, I mean, eventually I would like to build it to where, it's not necessarily depending on me.
You got to be close, though.
Yeah, you do have to be close. When you have a business, it's kind of hard to get away.
No, I feel like you're probably close to where it's doing its own thing.
Close to getting to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we were going to start a place in Columbia, and I bought a piece of land over there and stuff, but we kind of got shut down on that a little bit as of now because I had to get it rezoned, and then this virus hit, and I couldn't get anybody to call me back because right after I got rezoned, they shut down over there. And it took me like 2 months to get anybody, so I just submitted for a business license, and they came back and said, since you got rezoned, you got to get everything all the way updated to all the ADA, all that stuff. So talking about $50,000 to $100,000 worth of renovations. So I think I'm just going to sit on that for a little while and see.
Yeah, just going to hit pause. Do you do, when you sell, because I know you still buy and sell real estate, right?
Yeah.
Is it mostly commercial?
Well, the main stuff I've been selling lately is little small stuff, like little small 2-3 acre tracts out in the country and stuff. I've sold probably 10 things over the last 2 years that are like that.
And you list those?
No, I just kind of put a sign on them, and then people just call. I really don't have a whole lot of time to mess with them, but
Bentham, I have somebody looking for that. I call you when I get stuff. You gotta let me.
It's not even worth buying for the most part, but
you're just like, maybe some sucker will come buy this.
No, I mean, it works for some people. I mean, it's real cheap stuff, but
okay.
What
do you like, hunt on it or something?
No, I mean, I used to do like tax sales and stuff like that, and I do it more for like the interest, but then you end up with a lot of stuff, and then I just just put it up for sale, and then.
What interest?
Oh, you get interest like if it doesn't go through the redemption period, you're getting interest on your money from the tax sale. Like, you don't see what I'm saying? So like if you invest in the tax sale, like it goes through a 1 year redemption period, and you get essentially 12% annualized interest, but you really get more than that if it's depending on when it gets redeemed. If it gets redeemed in the first 3 months, the first 3 months is 3%. The first half of the year is 6%. 9 months it's 9%, and the first.
So if somebody comes back and buys it, they have to. So.
Yeah, they redeem it and just pay interest on that.
The state just wants somebody else to hold it because they can't hold all that.
Yeah, well, they just auction all of it off, and then they pay you interest on what
The
you're
state
investing
pays
in.
you interest?
No, the people that redeem it, if they want to redeem it.
Yeah, so
So-
the state just doesn't want to hold it?
Well, they're trying to get their tax revenue.
That's all they want?
Yeah.
So you pay them the tax thing?
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
huh.
So, but I haven't had time to do that. But I used to do that a long time ago. I did it in high school and stuff.
That's how I got cell phone tower plot of land across from yours.
Yeah, and that's what I was more interested in, that cell phone tower.
Yeah,
But-
apparently they signed that lifetime lease.
Yeah, that's what you told me. That's what made me not interested. Because those cell phone towers are a lot of revenue.
Yeah, except for that one.
Yeah.
Poor
well,
lady.
it was a lot of revenue. Oh, she didn't really get that much out of it.
No, she got 50
Yeah.
for a lifetime. So she took the 50 and then she lived there for a while. I think she maybe passed and it was inherited, and then they sold it, and then somebody owner financed it, and then it was taken back.
Yeah, that's a good area for cell phone tower. I guess on the interstate, because I told you, I think when I had that land, they contacted me when I was at the Citadel, and they were going to they had 3 pieces of land picked, but they said if we pick they did a contract and said if we pick yours, we'll give you sign a 15-year lease with a 5-year renewal and another 5-year renewal, and it's $500 a month is what they were going to pay me. But mine didn't get picked, unfortunately. I wish it had, but
Yeah.
But
Because that's
so,
over.
and that was back in the early 90s, so imagine the revenue's even more than that now. I've heard sometimes they pay off a volume too, like however many signals. I don't know how they measure that, but
How would you know this information? How would you come about knowing that?
well, I just knew that because they approached me and did a contract
okay.
with me. So
Man, I'm sorry that they didn't pick you.
yeah, I am too.
B team again.
I would probably still been getting that money. yeah, you were second choice. Like Martha Jane calling me right before this.
Sarah Jane?
Sarah Jane.
That's okay. I consider it even now. Okay, so and then you flew helicopters, and you were telling me one time that helicopters do not work like ceiling fans.
I don't remember telling you that, but I don't think they do work like so.
You don't remember we were at the realtor board?
Yeah, I remember explaining some stuff to you, I guess.
And so, because I was talking about the blades on a helicopter look kind of tilted. And
Yeah.
then you said something, and I wasn't listening. And I said, oh, like a ceiling fan. And you said, no, it does not work like a ceiling fan.
Yeah, I was just telling you, I guess, the controls on the helicopter. And it's changing the angle of attack on that blade. So
And you
that
said
might be why they look tilted.
And you said helicopters are harder to fly than airplanes?
Yeah.
I basically just want you to just tell me how a helicopter works again, because I tried to explain it to my dad, and he watches this, and I couldn't tell
All
him.
right. Well, you have 3 main controls. Well, 4,
Okay.
including the throttle. But you have a cyclic, a collective, and then you got your foot pedals that are changing the angle of attack on your tail rotor. So the collective is changing the angle of attack on all your blades. So say you have like
Ceiling fan?
say you have ceiling fan blade, and you're kind of spinning. Then if you turn that ceiling fan blade like that flat with all that wind resistance, it's gonna be harder to spin it, right? So it's gonna take more torque from the airframe. But say that ceiling fan's like this, then it'll cut through the air. So to create lift, you change the angle of attack on all your blades. So you're gonna have your blade kind of like this, where it's creating lift. So that collective changes the angle of attack on all the blades. Your cyclic changes the angle of attack on one blade, and it works on a gyro, so it changes it here. But by the time it pulls to here, it's going to pull that aircraft forward. So your cyclic is your airspeed going forward and stuff, and then the collectives, you're changing the angle of attack on all your blades. But then when you change, so every control, the reason helicopters fly is every control you input takes another control to counter that. So if you put in, your throttle is usually automatic on your new aircraft. So your throttle, you don't have to really worry about, changing that too much. But if you bring in collective, that's going to create lift, but it's going to make your tail go out like this, because it's a lot more power, and your tail rotor is countering that power. So you've got to put in left pedal that changes your angle of attack on your tail rotor blades to give them more like lift, pushing away from that main rotor. So, and then so every kind of input makes you have another input. That's why it's kind of so hard to fly. So it's in like if you want to go forward airspeed on your cyclic and you pushed forward, it's going to drop your nose a little bit and you're going to lose altitude. So you would have to bring in collective to keep your altitude, and then when you bring in collective, you're going to have to change the pitch on your tail rotor to counter your torque on your main rotor.
When was the last time you flew a helicopter?
It's been a long time. But we do, it's kind of muscle memory. You do a lot of like auto rotations and stuff like that. So you kind of remember.
Would you ever fly on a tourist helicopter?
Like fly?
Yeah, like Myrtle
me be
Beach,
the
like
pilot,
no, like you.
Yeah,
like
fly.
$15, take us up. We're just gonna do an aerial.
Oh, I'm
going
gonna
to
take you up. Like
no, you're gonna be a tourist.
Yeah. I mean, I
for
still
real?
have my civilian license.
Okay.
So, but
I just want to make sure we're clear on this. We go to Myrtle Beach.
you
Oh
just
my
talk
gosh.
about me being in the back flying. Me
No,
flying
you're just
over
hanging
top.
out as a passenger.
Yeah, that's
You
what
would do this.
Yeah, why not?
$15 seems awful cheap to get in an aircraft.
You're saying would I pay $15?
Like,
Would
let's
I
say
go
you didn't
on a
have to
ride?
pay, but yeah, like, would you go on one of the touristy rides?
Yeah, I mean, I'd go on a touristy ride.
Oh, I don't trust helicopters like that.
Why?
I feel like they're always going to fall.
No, I think that's a little bit. I mean, I feel more comfortable in a helicopter than an aircraft. An airplane.
Really?
Yeah, because you can. A lot of people think a helicopter is going to drop out the sky if you have an engine failure or something like that, but it's not really the case. As long as you have some altitude, I mean, you can do auto rotation. We do thousands of them in flight school. So with a plane,
Pause.
you have to have a place to land.
When you say auto rotation, do you mean like the engine stops and you have to float down?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I
You
would
float
never
down.
make it through helicopter school. Somebody would be like, we're going to auto rotate. And be like, no, I'm going to auto
Yeah, I mean, that's
out.
the first 10 weeks of flight school. That's all you're doing. So.
No.
So you get comfortable landing them. See, I'd be more comfortable landing that than a plane, because a plane you have to have a good bit of area to land it, where you can just find a little spot in the field and land an aircraft if you have engine failure.
So also I have some military friends and they're like, helicopters are like motorcycles. It's not if, it's when it goes down or whatever.
Well,
blah, blah, blah. Come on.
I don't know about all that. I mean, they do.
Do you feel like you've heard people say this?
Well, I've had to take them down a couple times in emergency situations.
Ugh.
But in flight school, so you had an instructor pilot there, though. So, but
Maybe you're just a better pilot. You're just like, never had to float mine down. Auto rotate, whatever it's called. So
yeah, they don't float down too well, but they do go down.
Not as bad as falling to your death.
Yeah.
I'm going to paint a good picture. We'll just call it floating.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of that way. I mean, this is what you're doing.
Are you a little bit afraid
Of what?
when you're auto rotating down?
No, not really. I don't get really excited over stuff.
Over
like
too
that.
much?
Yeah. Too
Yeah.
Much. I'm pretty
I
confident.
get that vibe.
But I mean, I'm pretty confident in them. But so.
Well, that's not where I had my other questions. I'm going to look at some. Okay, they're there. So sorry. So at the end of all this, we have questions that we ask, and there's hypotheticals that you would answer. And I wish I had something crazier, because I like to ask you crazy questions, because you kind of laugh a little bit and then you give like a legitimate, thoughtful answer, and I always find that really interesting.
It might be hard.
No, I don't think so. If you could go pro in any sport, what would it be? Tractor driving is not an official sport.
Probably boxing.
Boxing. Have you ever boxed?
Yeah, I used to box.
Stop. Tell me all the things that you've done that I've missed in this podcast.
Well, that might take a while.
Oh, also you raise squirrels.
Well, I had squirrels, and you said I was crazy for that. Because anybody with squirrels is crazy.
Okay, first of all, no, that was a little bit of a misquote. Second of all, you were
You
just
said
helping
you
him
had an aunt
out.
with a squirrel on you.
We don't know who's watching. We don't know who's I'm going to skip over the squirrels. Thanks. The squirrels are going to lose their spotlight today. So you would box.
Yeah.
Did you box in the Army?
No, I boxed. Actually, Thomas's granddad was a boxing coach. First was.
You boxed Thomas?
No, I didn't box Thomas, but his granddad was kind of retiring at the time, but he would come up to the Optimist Club and stuff, and then I boxed at Citadel a little bit.
If we had a fundraiser. Would you box Thomas?
Oh yeah, I'd box Thomas. I live next door.
Yes. That makes me so happy. Okay, if you could be famous for anything, first of all, would you want to be famous?
Probably won't be too bad.
Okay, so if you were famous, what would you be famous for?
Hopefully, if I was a professional boxer, I'm pretty good at it, so I'd be famous.
Famous for the professional boxing. We're mixing. Well, it's okay to be famous for your boxing.
I don't know.
I was trying to make it land sales or something, but really nobody, unless you have your own HGTV show.
Yeah, that's possible.
You could have your own HGTV show.
Yeah,
Equipment rental. Well, you could renovate land.
Yeah, renovate land.
And make it really cool farmland.
Yeah. Yeah. That
People
would
do
be,
that.
Yeah,
I was like, you look at me like kind of crazy-ish.
You buy a piece of land and make it pretty desirable for somebody.
Could you do that as just like a regular business?
I've thought about doing it sometimes, but
well, because you have all the stuff.
Yeah, because I have all the equipment.
Land, equipment, you know how to do it. It's like you're good to go. Okay, so if you could have a superpower, what would your superpower be?
I'd like to be able to fly. Like without a helicopter, just kind of like just.
It was like you already can a little bit.
Yeah.
Don't worry about auto rotating to your
Yeah.
death
Yeah.
when you can fly yourself.
You don't have to worry about any of that.
If you could fly, where would you go?
Oh, I'd go all over. Just sightseeing.
I didn't. Where have you been besides like Iraq and Iran and?
Oh, like traveling wise.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't fly like Superman. Well, I've been to like Europe a good
Clark
bit.
Kent from now on.
Like Germany and Scotland and England and.
Just for fun?
No, with the military.
Did you hunt any of those places?
Did I hunt in any of those places?
Uh-huh.
No, I'm not a big hunter. I used to hunt some in high school, but I haven't really hunted since high school.
How about fishing?
I've done a little bit of fishing, not much. I don't really have time to do a whole lot.
You have this theme in your life. You like working though, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy what I do, but I would like to have more time off to do other things. But
okay, so what are the other things?
well, I like land. I like my land, so if I had time, I would probably go out there more with equipment, not to hunt, but like just with equipment to
Move
kind
stuff
of
around.
landscape it. Just dig a hole and just bury it. No, I like landscaping, like plant trees and stuff like that.
But on like a really big scale.
Yeah,
because this isn't like a
I
half
don't
acre.
like,
This
like
is
necessarily like gardening, like planting little flowers here and there. I like to see where some live oaks are, and just landscapes kind of. Because the land that I like to go to is real hilly and has some ponds, and then I can see out over the Santee Swamp. So I have like a 20-mile view. I can kind of see, all the way over. So it has a lot of hills on it and springs, and I find shark teeth out there.
Stop.
In the springs, yeah.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
I love sharks.
Oh, you do?
I love
Did
sharks.
you see that osprey or whatever with the Myrtle Beach thing? Was that a shark or some kind of other fish? It was
I
on
didn't see it.
Facebook.
I just don't have time.
Time to look at stuff.
Yeah, I just don't have any time because I'm
Work all the
always
time.
super busy. I'm like so busy that I just can't even nap.
Yeah.
So, no, but I do love sharks. Okay, so
Why do you love sharks so much?
So one time my sister told me that I needed to not forget that I am a shark.
Oh, you are a shark?
Yeah, just because she's like, you're always, nice and stuff, but, you don't need to get bulldozed over. It's okay.
Yeah.
You just, because we were talking about business stuff. It's a whole long, drawn-out story. I'll tell you some other time. But, yeah, that's the shark. I don't watch, like, Shark Week or anything like that.
Yeah.
I just think they're cool animals. If they stop swimming, they die?
Yeah, I think I have heard that.
Yeah. So, and there are all these different kinds. This is not a podcast about sharks, I promise. So, this is supposed to be a podcast about you. All right, go on. Sorry, Cotton's all crazy right now. So one day you're gonna have 18-wheelers.
Well, hopefully.
Are you gonna have a Tesla 18-wheeler?
A what?
A Tesla 18-wheeler?
Tesla? I don't know about that. The technology's up to par. I know they've made a lot of advances on that.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on
Tesla.
battery operated big rigs?
I'm all for it. I mean, they say that I don't know if that would be practical in hauling equipment because your loads are so heavy, but it would be somewhat practical since I'm going short distances. Because from some of the stuff I've read, they might be good for short leg type, like people going to the port in Charleston getting stuff and bring it to a distribution center somewhere 2-3 hours away. But like cross country stuff, it's still going to probably be kind of hard for a while to have enough battery power. I don't know. I've just heard a few little things on it.
Do you think like a FedEx truck?
Yeah, like I think UPS. Well,
like when they because
that would make a lot of sense. And I think a lot of those
because that stuff's got to be fairly
already
light.
use like natural gas and stuff. Some of those places, which is
natural gas for their trucks.
I think some of those places do.
That's interesting.
I mean, I don't know if UPS and FedEx specifically, but a lot of fleet operators that just use their trucks in a 30-mile radius have done that.
I've never thought of this. It's very interesting.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I'm right on that.
I don't want me thinking about it makes you doubt yourself. You're probably 100% correct. So how do you pick the equipment that you're going to get?
Well, you just kind of have to know what the market is and see what things are renting, and then there's certain brands, and I like certain brands, but then also my customers like certain brands that have a good reputation for. We deal a lot with Kubota stuff on the compact series stuff, and then it also depends on what kind of deals the companies give me, and then what kind of financing they do. We're a rental yard, so we're able to buy stuff directly from the manufacturers.
When you who do you normally rent to? Like, is it?
We rent to a lot of contractors, a lot of professional like landscapers, and then we rent to just your regular homeowners too. But
people.
Yeah, like if you wanted to come aerate your yard or something like that, we would have stuff. But probably the majority of our business is like professionals. So
on my last podcast, I talked about building a corn maze in the backyard.
Oh, really?
I've grown corn the first time this year.
Oh, I know your backyard, so it's not like a huge corn maze. It might not be that challenging.
It's okay. Borrow some equipment. We'll dig some.
Yeah.
Erica Goza told me, because I germinated the corn kernels, she told me I didn't have to do that because corn will grow anywhere.
Oh, really?
I probably also don't need heavy machinery to build a corn maze in my backyard, but I feel like it would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, at least get a tiller or something.
Yeah, at least a tiller, whatever that is.
Yeah. What tills it up? Where you plant the seed?
Oh, that would have been really nice because we just used shovels, and it was very hot.
So you did plant some corn?
Yeah, I did. I just didn't make a
How'd
corn
it turn
maze.
out?
It's tall.
All right. But it's not a maze. It's just some corn.
Right, and I think I planted it too close together because from what I can tell, you need to plant them far enough away so that enough water can develop into a nice, strong fruit. And all of my corn things are kind of wimpy looking.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they really are. I'll give you some if you want. I have like 45 stalks of corn.
Yeah, I like corn.
That's too much for the four of us.
When I was little, I was wanting to be a farmer. And when I bought that land, I was at the Citadel most of the time, but I planted some watermelons, but I didn't get to really water them because I was at school. But it did grow some, but they were more like hors d'oeuvres. They were kind of like little small watermelons.
I grew radishes as well, and they turned into probably the size of your tiny watermelons.
Yeah.
They were huge.
Oh, really?
They were without flavor because they got so big. They were just like...
So we're opposites. I grow very small, tasty fruits, and you grow very large, no taste.
Tasteless fruits. You grow the radishes this year. I'll grow the watermelon. We'll see what happens. Anyway, well, anything you want to share with the community? Anything cool coming up? Happening?
Not really.
Cool. Well, I'm glad you're healthy and not COVIDed.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Glad you are too.
Thanks. And thanks for coming on.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for
And I
having me.
swear you weren't BT.
Oh, all right. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, F45. We are powered by F45. Thank you as always. They are still doing limited classes, so if you are going to an F45 class, please log in on your app. And have a great week. Thanks for tuning in.